Welcome back to Jacksonville's Retirement Coach with Adam Wolf, the president, the CPA, and the certified financial planner of Wolf Retirement Navigation. Adam, we're so glad that you're spending time with us today. Folks, we're glad that you're listening. I'm co-host Doug Turnbull. Get your free portfolio analysis with Adam and his team at wolfretirement.com. They want to help you build a plan and a lifelong partnership. The coach is in the house for your retirement. Adam, how you doing today?
I'm good, Doug. How you been?
I'm great, thank you. You know, it's hard to believe it's already close to the end of the year, but we have passed a big benchmark, and I'm not talking about Halloween. I'm not talking about like the start of the semester or Thanksgiving coming up. When y'all are hearing this, you're probably going to be right up on Thanksgiving and not after. No, I'm talking about the world's largest cocktail party that happened right outside your door over there. That's what we call the big Georgia-Florida football game. And again, y'all are listening to this. It's already happened. Georgia was victorious over Florida in their home state, though that's considered a neutral game, right, Adam?
Yeah, it used to not be for many, many decades there. I mean, it was difficult for them to pull it off, but now, they seem to get the leg up. But, it's great for the city. We're going to keep it here for another couple of years, and then our stadium's going to get rebuilt, and they're going to take it down to Tampa. But no, it's great for the city, great for the area, brings in a lot of visitors who might not have visited before, and then, keeps our hotels and restaurants busy, which is the name of the game here in Jacksonville. Now, I did it long time ago, one time, and that's all it took. And so, but yeah, it's great to see all the visitors and everybody. As long as the fans stay out of trouble, I think we got a pretty good thing happening here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, no, there's some videos going around of fans and officers having some scraps out there, whichever side was right or wrong, that's not the point of talking about it. It's just, that could get wild at those games. And I would say, Adam, you went only one time. And that's because part of your mantra is being both financially and physically fit. And if you go to that game too many times, it could take a big hunk out of both, right?
Yeah, I mean it's wonderful to see because you experienced it. But I love Florida, I love Georgia, I love both teams, and being a Virginia Tech Hokie, we don't ever have anything that big. So if I get a little taste of it, I mean, we have this Enter Sandman entrance, which is wonderful, but that was before my time at school there. But, it's just wonderful to see the fans get out and show their support for their teams and spend money here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, you're based out of Jacksonville. I'm based out of Atlanta. We have plenty of marquee sports events here, and you talked about all the crowds in town. I was discussing with someone out in the bullpen here in our studios. Bad traffic stinks. I covered it for 20 years here in Atlanta. Still write a traffic column in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. But unless there's a crash or something like that, a stall or whatever, usually bad traffic is the result of good news. It means people are working, people are attending your town. Maybe you're caught in the bad traffic because you just got out of a Braves World Series game. That happened to me 3 years ago, and you're wondering, why aren't we moving? But you know what? If the Braves weren't in the World Series, you wouldn't be there. So maybe it's okay to be in that traffic. So it's just a glass half full way to look at life. But it means people are out working and able to spend the money to go.
Yeah, I did. I started my career in Washington, D.C., and that area. I worked in the city, but I lived in Virginia and also lived in Maryland. I was there for 5 years. So when I moved here 20 years ago, it was people were complaining about traffic. I said, come on now. There's no traffic. This is DC's like top 3 in the country, or top 4 in the country.
They are. They're right up there. And of course, Atlanta's way up the list too. Really to me, and my brother used to live in Jacksonville, and I used to go to St. Augustine every year with my family just south of there. It's amazing to me how spread out Jacksonville is. It's like just to go for one place. It's like, it's not because of traffic. It's just that there are, except for the ocean, no big physical land barriers.
Yeah, we have the other office we have an office in San Pablo, but we also have our satellite office in Fleming Island because family members and clients getting them to cross the Buckman Bridge over the St. Johns River was difficult. So it's easier for me to go over there once a day or once a week to see everybody. So.
Well, for sure. And I've been over that bridge too, and it's a beautiful city there. So folks in the Jacksonville area or thereabouts, anyone hearing this, check it out and then go to wolfretirement.com there and get that free portfolio analysis with Adam and his team there. Again, they got a couple offices they could serve you and get that thing started. Now, last episode, we got a chance to know Adam more, just like we started here, getting to know about Adam and Jacksonville more. So we definitely want to continue that mantra, continue that MO, if you will, throughout these future episodes. But hey, we got something big to talk about today. A news story recently in Yahoo Finance, finance.yahoo.com, if you're following along on the URL there. But it said that America gets a C+ grade in retirement. That is from the Mercer CFA Institute Global Pension Index. One of my favorite global pension indexes. I'm a big connoisseur of those. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, basically they said America got a C+. They did that index in 48 countries, finished 29th out of 48. And the big anchors that weighed on that grade, Adam, were concerns over pension funding. As we know, we'll talk about pensions, shortfalls in private retirement savings. Hello, go to wolfretirement.com. But then also that the U.S. retirement system, we're having to withstand increasing life expectancy and dropping fertility rates. So you combine those together, U.S. only 29th out of 48, and again, a C+. As you read through this, Adam, by the way, the A countries were Netherlands, Iceland, Denmark, and Israel. Those were the top four. But as you parse through this information, Adam, what came to mind? What are some things you can help coach people through? Because I'm sure that's alarming to hear.
Yeah, I mean, you think of we need A's and B's, that's what we want to do when we were in school. But C+, this is the highest it's ever been. It's never gone above C+, I read. So,
wow.
It comes down to, over 300 plus million people here in the United States. There's now 11,000 baby boomers a day retiring, and it's been like that. It was 10,000 for many, many days and many years. There's a lot of folks, and it's a longevity, which is a great thing from a longevity perspective. People are living longer, so people live longer. It's wonderful, and so, a three-legged stool. Doing the planning for as long as I have, it's always been a three-legged stool. And the three legs being pensions, being Social Security, and also personal savings like 401ks, IRAs, home equity, that type of stuff. So those three legs in the stool used to be even many decades ago. People had Social Security. It never intended to be the sole source of anybody's retirement. It's very difficult to live on, just Social Security. But many employers, also state and local, have pensions, and it's become fewer and fewer of those. So more of that concentration, more of the responsibility has been on you, to the saver. It's up to you to put the money away into the 401k and into the IRAs or Roths or wherever you want to put it. But that three-legged stool's become like wobbled, and sometimes it's a two-legged stool, unless somebody has the guarantees in there, which pensions have provided in the past. And, we can all have arguments of which pensions and which states and which city governments and which corporations have stronger pensions than others. But, most people don't have them to begin with, so we can really, really start there.
Well, that's a great point. And you're thinking the three-legged stool is a great illustration. And I think in our last episode, you've been talking more in depth about that and how you and the team at Wolf Retirement Navigation help people, navigate that. But hey, the top of the stool is, I don't want to say the person sitting on top, but is basically, I would think the thing that puts pressure on all three of those legs is the amount of money or the amount of effort you need to retire. And if you're living longer, that means the quote person or effort on top of that stool is getting bigger while the legs are starting to hollow out a little bit if you talk about pensions and Social Security especially. And even this article from Yahoo Finance mentioned that personal savings has gone down. So again, how do people navigate this? What do you tell someone? Maybe they're within 5 years of retirement and they need to navigate this and they're hearing news like this. I mean, maybe their savings hasn't been up to par, or they're worried about if their pension's even going to be there, or Social Security, is that going to exist? I mean, when people come to you with their hair on fire a little bit, how do you, with your 25 years of experience in the field, kind of calm them down?
Yeah, we look at it, it's unique to every individual. So, a lot of these articles, a lot of this news out there is more for the broad masses and, in general. But when it comes down to meeting with you one-on-one, that's what we do. We sit down and we look at all of the different, facets of your retirement life. We look at the risks, and really this comes into the risk of outliving your money and having an income plan to when you hang your hat up from retirement, you are now relying on not your wages, not your self-employment if you had your own business from that employer. You're now relying on Social Security, if you're eligible for it, a pension if you have one, but more importantly, and it's a larger percentage, is, hey, your retirement savings, is it going to be enough to retire, to generate the income that you need to be out through to and through retirement successfully? And a lot of people I meet with, Doug, they come in and they have all this stuff and it's all these different questions. And a lot of times we go through the number, we crunch the numbers, and instead of retiring at 65, it may be 63. Instead of retiring at 67, full retirement age for a lot of folks on Social Security now, it may be 65. So it's all about taking what you have in resources and the savings that you put into play and your other different facets of your life to most efficiently and economically not have to work anymore, to turn your stuff into living in retirement. And that's the beauty of it. And looking at it individually, how can we save the most in taxes? How can we set up a long-term care plan that's going to be structured right for you? How can we reduce as many fees in the overall portfolio and picture to keep more money in your pocket? Looking at those risks and alleviating those risks and reducing those risks as much as possible is the key.
Yeah, reducing the risk. And so what are some of the tools people could do to reduce the risk? What are some things at Wolf Retirement that you offer, or ways that you may sit down with someone, a prospective person, and say, have you thought about this? A lot of people just get fixated on pension, 401k, Roths, things like that, which are all good. But those may be things they already bring to you that they already have been doing. What's something you can maybe steer them toward as they look at the last, third or quarter of their lives?
Yeah, I mean, most folks come to meet with us. They're about to retire or a few years away or just getting ready to. And so we look at it holistically, because a lot of people, who work with, there's a lot of other advisors or financial professionals out there that just are fixated on investments and growing your money and that phase of your life. Now, retirement's different because we're trying to preserve, still grow, protect, and distribute the money, to live off of. And so it's a totally different mindset. So what we do, we take a look at 5 major risks. The risks are, running out of money, which is your investment risk. And so if you have the right amount of risk in your portfolio, we want to make sure that's the case. And a lot of people come in and say, hey, I think I'm moderate, and then we crunch the numbers and you're really aggressive, and because everything has run up so much and it might not be appropriate for you in your situation in the years where you can't make up for losses like you used to when you were working. So the investment risk is big, which is the running out of money potential. Tax risk, we take a look at the tax efficiency, how things are structured, anything we could do to make changes in throughout retirement, with Roth conversion and tax-free planning. We also take a look at, health risks and long-term care risks, and we want to make sure that we're addressed for Medicare, the right plan to pick in Medicare. In addition to that, does long-term care need to be hedged somehow with your overall plan? We also look at estate planning. So, we don't draft documents because we're not, legally allowed to in Florida as attorneys because we're not attorneys. So we work with qualified estate planning attorneys who can help draft the right documents so that you're protected. Where you want your stuff to go is going to go the way you want to do it, and alleviate any issues for your spouse if you're married, or your beneficiaries and or kids, or whoever's taking care of your situation when you're no longer here. That within the fifth risk is that income planning risk of making sure that you have all these different sources of funds, how to structure those sources of funds to make it most efficient for you, to have enough income at the end of the day to live off of, adjusted for inflation. That is the key for the risks that we look at. And everybody's unique in their situation, Doug.
Oh, for sure. And that's why we don't sit here and provide like, oh, you've got all these different problems. Here's the one pill, so to speak, metaphorically, you can take to solve it all. That's why, again, folks, you need to get with wolfretirement.com, free portfolio analysis there. Those 5 major risks, again, that Adam laid out and explained in more detail are just very simply running out of money, tax risks, health care planning, estate planning, and income planning. All of that is stuff that you're going to have to navigate there, no matter where the U.S. is graded on that list. U.S. could be A++, better than the Netherlands, but the same risks would apply over there. And interestingly enough, Adam, and we're not going to dive into it today, but the Netherlands, one thing they do that the person writing this article, the people writing it said, is they actually require employers to require employees to opt in for a retirement plan. And we could disagree or agree on whether the rules are, but the idea there is, hey, it seems to work better when people, or the more people as possible, have a plan.
Hey, having a plan is at the end of the day the best thing. I know the Netherlands. I don't know what their population is, and we can talk about that all day long.
Notice
and how
these
many
are all
people
small countries that have A, right? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have 330 million people here. It's a unique situation. We have to look at it individual by individual, and because you may have different plans than your sister, or you might have different plans than your parents, and so everybody needs to be looked at in that regard.
Well, I know that one of your big specialties there, I mean, you're certified financial planner, you're a CPA, very tax-based. So we really dig in on the taxes stuff, and there's so many different ways to go in and out. And again, that's why free portfolio analysis today, wolfretirement.com. Adam Wolf, of 25 years plus in the industry, and they're in Jacksonville for a lot of that time. And we're really thankful today that you could enlighten us at least a little bit on this topic. And folks, the way these podcasts are going to lay out is we're going to tackle the big subject matter each time. So I could foresee an episode in the future where we actually dig in even deeper on what each of the 5 major risks are. And coming up on our next episode, we're going to talk about, as we get close to the end of 2024, tax planning in Q4, basically, and what you could look at there going into the early part of 2025. Be sure we're on Apple and Spotify and some other carriers too. Be sure to like the podcast. If you know someone in your circle that needs to hear about this, be sure and get this over to them. If you heard some great news today, some great analysis today, don't keep it all to yourself. Make sure people know about that. And we definitely look forward to having y'all listen again. And thank you for listening today. So he's Adam, I'm Doug. Thank you very much for listening to Jacksonville's Retirement Coach. And again, we'll have that another episode here coming up real shortly.
Investment advisory services offered through Coil Capital LLC, a registered investment advisor. Wolf Retirement Navigation LLC and Coil Capital LLC are not affiliated. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. No investment strategy can guarantee a profit or protect against loss in periods of declining values. Opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and are not intended as investment advice or to predict future performance. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Consult your financial professional before making any investment decision. This information is designed to provide general information on the subjects covered. It is not, however, intended to provide specific legal or tax advice and cannot be used to avoid tax penalties or to promote, market, or recommend any tax plan or arrangement. Please note that Wolf Retirement Navigation LLC and its affiliates do not give legal or tax advice. You are encouraged to consult your tax advisor or attorney. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurer. Any references to protection or benefits or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products or services. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and not offered by Coil Capital LLC. Florida Insurance License Number W016816.